Okay. So welcome to Mindful Monday, and we're on week 6. I can't believe it. We're halfway through the program, and we've been building each week on skills. And last week we introduced difficulties and being compassionate. And this week we're going to explore that a little bit more, exploring problems, challenges, and opportunities. So, being with difficulties. Sometimes when we meditate, we can feel a deep inner stillness and profound sense of peace. On these days, practice is full of ease. It feels like coming home to ourselves, which can be quite a pleasant place to rest. Other times we experience discomfort in the body, thoughts crowd in like an impatient mob, or intense and overwhelming emotions pour over us. On these days, practice can seem difficult to bear. And yet there's so much to learn if we can open up to and even welcome in these challenging experiences, this present moment awareness of everything we're cultivating. So contrary to popular belief, the goal of meditation is not to empty the mind. Our minds are always thinking. Even the act of recognizing what is happening inside of us is a form of thought. So you've probably noticed this when we did the mindfulness of thinking exercise. Our minds are always going to be thinking, and we are exploring this in quite an abstract way within the mindfulness, but of sort of experiencing that within the body. It takes some practice to get used to. And rather, the discursive thinking becoming an obstacle to meditation, it can be this tendency of the mind to ramble aimlessly from subject to subject, narrating stories about our experiences. The interpretations we make during this type of thinking is what often leads to judgments of unpleasant, unsatisfactory, unwanted urges to fix, to avoid, or distract, and consequently give rise to afflictive emotions. Non-discursive thought involves the direct experience of phenomena. It's immediate, factual, and descriptive. And over time, a dedicated practice allows discursive thinking to recede into the background as the mind becomes more skilled at resting in the now, non-discursively. So it's kind of moving the conversation aside and dropping into the body. So you're still thinking, but you're observing the rest of your body rather than the stories. So bodily discomfort. When we meditate, we give ourselves the space to notice the aches and pains in the body associated with SMA. Its frequency, its duration and intensity can, however, be impacted by psychological states. So during practice, we experiment with opening to the experience of physical discomfort so that we can see it perhaps with, it's almost from a, not necessarily more clearly, but more objectively. So a kind of being an impartial witness to it, rather than getting lost in that story of judging and blaming and criticizing, of like, okay, where is it? Does it have a color, a shape, a texture? So that discursive thinking around the experience, the richness and diversity of the topography and trajectory of what we might consider to be unpleasant bodily sensations can be quite surprising. We can learn much more about our habits and patterns and develop a measure of equanimity around every intense physical sensation. So the labeling of pleasant, unpleasant, we can really explore what it is to be us, to be alive. Powerful emotions. So discursive thinking lends itself to emotional reactions because we must make an interpretation in order to have a feeling about something. When we're on automatic pilot, these interpretations can be made in split seconds below the level of awareness. If we aren't tuned into our internal experiences, we run the risk of acting impulsively and unwisely in order to hold on to desired emotions or to avoid, fight against, or distract ourselves from unwanted emotions. Very strong emotions, whether pleasant or unpleasant, tend to cause us the most difficulty. But just as the body sensations and thoughts, we learn to notice emotion as it arises and observe it with curiosity and friendliness so that we can learn from it. So within the practice that we're going to do now, we're going to be with a difficulty. So this is something very deliberate and specific that we're going to think about that we can observe within the body. So as I was talking about in the beginning, before we began the recording, I would like you to just take a moment to think about a difficult situation. So it could be something in the past that's over, or perhaps something more recent. Nothing too juicy. We're not in psychoanalysis or psychotherapy here. It's not counseling. We're looking to think about something such as an email that's maybe annoyed you, but it's not too bad. Maybe the counsellor changing when the bin day is, and that's the day that you go off, or whatever, that sort of inconvenient, frustrating, annoying things. Or if I don't know, you broke your favorite mug or something along those lines, where it's annoying, it's frustrating, and it can't be changed, but nothing too juicy. And then during this exercise, we're going to pay close attention to the physical sensations throughout your body when you observe your experience of observing a difficulty. So remembering that the goal isn't to change or relax your body, but instead to notice and become more aware of it. We're learning to accept ourselves as we are in that moment and simply being with our experiences. So we're going to begin with a mindfulness breathing. We expand into the body, and then I'll invite you to introduce that difficulty. Okay, so I'll guide you through it. So setting yourself up in your posture, you can have your eyes open or closed. So taking a moment to arrive in your body. And an invitation to just check for any points of tension that you might be holding. Hot spots can be the face, the forehead, the jaw, hands. You can clench them tightly without even noticing. So letting go of any tension that you are holding on to. And then bringing your attention to your breath. Not changing the rhythm in any way, simply breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps to begin with, an invitation to bring your attention to your in-breath. Where is that most vivid for you? Is it your nostrils? Is it the rise and fall of your ribs as you breathe in? Where is your in-breath most vivid for you today? Perhaps counting each in-breath up to 10. And if you do manage to get to 10, simply returning your attention back to the beginning, to 1. It's not a competition. I think the average before the mind wanders off is 3. It's not criticizing or judging yourself when your mind has wandered. It's doing what minds do, but gently and firmly and kindly bringing yourself back to your in-breath and observing the felt sensations of your in-breath and counting if that feels right for you. Remembering my guidance is simply that. Learning to listen to ourselves, and if my guidance isn't right for you, then following your own needs. This is really important. Observing your direct and felt experience of your in-breath. And now an invitation to bring your attention to your out breath. Where's your out breath most vivid? Perhaps the warmth of the air as it leaves your nostrils. Perhaps it's the sensation of the squeezing as your body pushes the air out. And counting if that feels right for you. Being interested and curious into your experience and the felt sensation of your breath in your body. Being an impartial witness to yourself and your experience. Observing the mind as it judges the experience, entertains itself with stories, and returning your attention each time it's wandered off. Taking the time out of your busy day to be here. In this world of constant stimulation, information, pictures, screens. Resting with the breath is not easy. So being kind to yourself about your experience. And now an invitation to expand your awareness to the full rhythm of your breath as you breathe in. A slight pause before you breathe out. And then that slight pause again before you breathe in, sort of small nanoseconds of time, following the cycle of your full breath. And again, an invitation to count if that feels right for you. Do you count at the beginning of the breath? Or when you've finished? Where's the breath most vivid for you? Our breath. Shared humanity, and we all breathe. Our breath that cleanses and nourishes and detoxes. Very little intervention from us. Now an invitation to expand your awareness from the breath to include all of your body as you breathe. And scanning your body in your own time from your head to your toes, simply checking in with yourself. Noticing shapes and colours and textures, temperatures, sensation of the air against your skin, the contact that you're making with the earth, the fabric of your clothes. Breathing in your body. Now I invite you to bring to mind the difficulty that you thought of earlier. Not spending too long searching for the story, simply resting with what's here. It's just spending a few moments playing the story, that experience. Now I invite you to drop into your body. What is your felt and direct experience of the sensations that you notice having brought this difficulty to mind? The shapes, the colours, the textures. Each time your mind wanders off back into the story, gently and kindly and firmly bringing yourself back to your body. Whereabouts in your body are the sensations? Is it in your chest? Is it in your belly? Is it in your left foot? Being an impartial witness to the experience. Where does it begin and end? Are the sensations constant, or do they feel heavy and in one place? Or is it like electrical impulses? Exploring yourself with a childlike curiosity and interest. Your body. That experiences these events. Does what it can to take care of you. Our heartbeat, our breath, our digestion. We all get impacted by difficulties. What are you noticing now with that kind curiosity? And then letting go of paying attention to the difficulty, an invitation to narrow your focus back to your breath. Simply breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your experience to be as it is. You don't need to change anything or fix anything. You can simply be with yourself as you are. Alive, whole, complete. And then expanding your awareness from your breath to include your whole body. Having a sense of where you begin and end. The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair of the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. So moving and stretching in whatever way your body's asking of you now. And I'm just going to share my own practice before moving to a discussion. Mindfulness of difficulty. Mindfulness is intentionally attending to what is already here, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, without judgment. When we impulsively try to avoid that, which is both inescapable and difficult, we eliminate a wide swath of experience from which we might learn. How can we respond wisely and with compassion when we are unaware? When approached gently and with a spirit of kindness, we can learn to trust our inner knowing, to guide us in skillfully facing any challenge that arises. So, home practice for this week, a mindful self-compassion practice, which I'll link on the page. And this is a picture that I took of when I broke my favorite mug, and it suddenly just looked so beautiful. I didn't keep the pieces, I didn't repair it, but I took a photo. Little reminder of the beauty and the broken and the chaos, frustration and the annoyance of life. So an invitation to press pause and perhaps take a moment to connect to your direct experience of that practice. What was interesting, what came up for you. And if you want to, you can write it all out in an email to me and just send it. I'm really interested to hear about your experience of being with a difficulty. If there was anything that you'd like to share or explore further, please do reach out. So the home practice for the week is a mindful compassion practice, which will be linked on the page. And of course, you can access any of the other meditations as you wish. Watch the sessions again. But to close, just taking a moment to arrive in your body. We practice this 3-part breathing space. What do you notice in your body? Any thoughts, sensations, shapes, colours, textures? What's here? Bringing an awareness to your body. And now gathering your attention to the breath, narrowing your focus, simply observing your breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. Not changing the rhythm in any way. Observing your breath. The coolness of the air as it enters your nostrils, the warmth as it leaves. And then expanding your awareness from the breath to include all of the body. The space above you, beneath you, beside you. Where do you begin and end? And as best you can, taking this sense of connection and awareness into whatever you have left to do with your day. Thank you so much again. Do reach out if you need anything. Have a great week.